Neil Sedaka. For more than half a century, that name has been synonymous with a certain kind of pop perfection. He was a craftsman of the highest order, and his melodies became a part of our shared cultural fabric. But when you look at a career with that much longevity, that much impact, you have to look beyond the sheet music, beyond the applause. You have to look at the architecture of the legend itself.
Of course, talent is the price of admission. But what really separates the merely successful from the truly iconic? Is it possible there are unseen patterns, a kind of hidden geometry of connection and timing that underpins a life's work? Today, we're going to look at a master through a very different kind of lens.
So here's our roadmap for this exploration. We'll start with the Sedaka Enigma, just to grasp the scale of his achievements. Then we'll introduce our analytical framework, what we're calling an architecture of connection. From there, we'll look at his origins in the family tree blueprint, decode his greatest hits in a symphony of alignments, and finally, we'll analyze his career-defining year through the rhythm of success.
To really understand the late, great Neil Sedaka, you first have to understand the Brill building era. That legendary hit factory in New York City where songs were forged with both industrial precision and pure artistic brilliance. And Sedaka, well, he wasn't just a product of that system, he was one of its titans.
I mean, the statistics really do speak for themselves. With over 500 songs to his name, he didn't just write for himself, he wrote for a whole pantheon of music royalty. 3 #1 singles, 9 in the top 10, and maybe the most impressive part? Orchestrating a monumental comeback in the 70s, long after so many of his peers had faded away. This wasn't just a career, it was a phenomenon.
So how do you even begin to dissect a phenomenon like that? Well, you need a new kind of lens. And that brings us to our second section, an architecture of connection. We're going to introduce a method that suggests there's a mathematical order to the creative and personal connections that define a life.
It's called the CrownLine method, and at its core, it's a system of pattern recognition that uses mathematical formulas with our birth dates as the main ingredient. Now, it uses a standard 52-card deck, but, and this is the key thing, it has nothing to do with fortune-telling. Think of the cards as a visual user interface, a symbolic language that helps map out these rules-based patterns. And let's be absolutely clear here. This is not astrology or tarot. There's no mysticism involved, no esoteric divination. Where those practices rely on interpretation, this method relies on algorithms. It's a system of geometry, not guesswork.
Okay, so here's the basic idea. The system gives each person 2 key identifiers. First, there's the birth card, which is calculated from a mathematical formula using your full birth date. Second is the astrological ruling card, which comes from your birth month and astrological sign. These 2 cards, both rooted in the calendar, become the foundation for the whole analysis. Connections are then found by looking for specific alignments between people's cards. This could be something really direct, like 2 people having the exact same card. Or it can be more nuanced, like matching a number, sharing the same suit, or what the method calls being suited and connected. Think a 3 of diamonds and a 4 of diamonds.
All right, now that we have the framework, let's put it to work. And where better to start than at the very beginning? The CrownLine method actually suggests that these patterns of potential can be set up even before we're born, through the mathematical alignments between our parents. It's like an inheritance, but of potential.
So, let's apply this to the Sedaka family. Here, we can see the calculated cards for his father, Mac, and his mother, Eleanor, right next to Neil's own cards. According to the method, the alignments between them could reveal an inherited blueprint for his future potential.
And the analysis here points to 2 really powerful inherited gifts. First, his parents, Mac and Eleanor, shared a matching birth card number, the number 4. According to the method, this acts as a wealth catalyst. Then, Neil shared a matching number, 10, with his father. This is seen as a potential fame and success boost. It's almost as if the blueprint for his future was drawn up from the very start.
Okay, so that's the family blueprint. Now, let's see how this extends to the core of his creative life. A songwriter's career is really a story of collaboration, right? By applying the CrownLine method here, we can try to map the hidden chemistry behind his most famous partnerships. And we have to start with his most foundational partner, the lyricist Howard Greenfield. And wow, just look at these alignments. Their birth cards are the same suit, and both are even numbers. On top of that, their astrological ruling cards share the number 3. We're
We're talking about multiple layers of deep, collaborative connection here.
And this web of connection just expands when we look at their biggest hit, Love Will Keep Us Together, famously recorded by Captain and Tanil. The analysis shows that Tony Tanil, that's Tony Tanil, connects to both writers through the suit of diamonds. Meanwhile, her partner, Daryl Dragon, aligns with Sedaka through a matching number. It's a perfect storm of connections, a symphony of alignments all converging on one massive hit.
Sometimes, though, the connections are even more direct. When Sedaka and Greenfield wrote the song Puppet Man for Tom Jones, the synergy was practically written in the cards. As you can see, Neil Sedaka and Tom Jones have the exact same birth card, the 10 of diamonds. That is a powerful and direct creative alignment.
And you see this pattern continue. For the song Solitaire, Sedaka was suited and connected to his co-writer, Phil Cody. But then, a totally different connection created the path to a legend. Sedaka and Elvis Presley shared a matching astrological ruling card number, the number 3. According to the method, it was this alignment that linked the song to its iconic performer.
Now, beyond just interpersonal chemistry, the CrownLine method claims it can identify something even more profound, a rhythm of opportunity. It suggests it can actually chart periods when an individual's potential for extraordinary success is at its peak. So let's put that to the test and examine Sedaka's greatest year through this very lens.
The year was 1975. After some time away from the charts, the phrase "Sedaka's back" became an anthem in the industry. He wrote 2 songs that went straight to #1 on the Billboard Hot 100, cementing one of the greatest comebacks in music history. So, was it just talent and luck, or was there something else at play?
Okay, I know this chart looks a little complex, but let's just focus on one key detail. This is Sedaka's timing chart for the week Love Will Keep Us Together hit #1. On June 21st, the exact day it reached the top, the chart shows the appearance of the 8 of diamonds. In this system, that's called the star card, and it signifies monumental success.
Incredibly, the pattern repeats for his second #1 that year, Bad Blood, which featured Elton John. Here's the chart for October 11th. On the very day the song hit #1, look what appears, the 2 of clubs. And that just happens to be Elton John's astrological ruling card, showing up at the precise moment of their shared triumph.
The data here is pretty striking. For each of his career-defining #1 hits in 1975, the timing charts flagged the exact date with a specific, highly significant indicator. You have the star card signaling monumental success, and then the ruling card of his key collaborator. It's like finding a rhythm in the chaos.
As Todd Anthony Person, the founder of the method, puts it, Sedaka's charts for that year didn't just reflect success, they pretended it. The idea being that the mathematical patterns all aligned to forecast this incredible period of achievement.
Which leaves us with a provocative final thought. We celebrate artists like Neil Sedaka for their innate, almost mystical talent. But what if there's a legible system beneath all the magic? An architecture of connection and a rhythm of timing that we are only just beginning to understand. It really makes you wonder, can we in fact map the moments that define us?